are ready to introduce our next very special guest. She's from my city originally, studied to be an engineer, and then found herself here in Mumbai, has emerged as a huge star of our time, and her most recent series, Do Patti, a lot of you must have seen it, has shone a light on subjects that should be spoken about but are not. Please put your hands together for Kriti Sanon. Let's show her some love. You are to have Kriti in the house. Can we do a Kriti at the count of 3, 2, 1? Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Come, come.
I love you too.
It's lovely to see you here. And you know, Kriti was out of the country, and she's literally come straight from the airport for this event. So let's give her an extra round of applause for that.
And I've come a day early only for this.
Thank you.
I have to say that I was too excited to be here for We the Women, and also for you. I have to say that I've been a huge fan.
Thank you.
And I think one of the things I've always had in my, I want to do this in life, was sit across and have a conversation with you.
Thank you. I'm so happy we're finally doing it.
So happy.
And let it be the first of many to come. Kriti, you studied to be an engineer. Were you going to be an engineer, or was that you as a young girl finding your way?
I think it was me as a young girl finding my way, like we all sometimes are, where we don't know what we want to do, but we have to decide. Too soon, in fact, like when you're like, what, 8, 9, 10, and people start asking you, bade ho ke kya banna chahte ho?
Correct.
So wo question ek bahut early on start ho jata hai, and you suddenly feel the pressure of, okay, now I have to decide, but I don't know, so what do I do? And that was me I was studious. My mom's a professor.
Where does she teach?
She teaches in ARST in Delhi University. She teaches physics.
Wow.
So my dad's a CA, so I had this whole like really academic environment at home, and I was the firstborn, so obviously padhai karo was a major thing.
Yeah.
My sister got away easily, and I was the one who used to get like tests and kitne marks aaye, 2 mark ka kyun chhoot gaya, all of that. And probably that's why I kind of grew up to be very studious. मेरी भूख प्यास मिट जाती थी जब मेरा एग्जाम होता था, तो I used to be that kind of a person who had to finish her course and get good marks, and I'd feel really bad if I would like not get good marks, and it was really important for me.
If you hadn't been an actor and the star that you are, what would you have been?
I don't really know. I mean, while I was doing my BTech, I didn't really know what an engineer would finally do, because you study a lot, but the practicality of it is not something that you're faced with.
How to apply it, you don't know.
You don't know how to apply it. You learn that all in your training when you become, when you start your job. So I used to love dancing, but I never thought it would come in use.
I mean, we're not going to let it go. We won't let you go without some dancing. Then,
So I never thought that that's actually going to come in use, in my profession. Never thought of that. Never tried dramatics before.
That was just like something you enjoyed doing.
Yeah, I just enjoyed dancing. I loved dancing. So yeah, today when I think back, I don't know. I think I would have gone for something in the creative field, even though I was an engineer. Because I feel like there is a creative side to me that is always hungry and curious. And somewhere BTech also makes you curious as a person, You ask a lot of questions.
Really?
Yeah, you ask a lot of questions. Everything is logical. You're taught to be logical. You're taught to answer questions. So my mind works in a very logical manner. I ask a lot of questions, and that's my way of growing and learning and evolving. And I remember when I came into the industry early on, a lot of my directors were like, "Arey, ye bahut sawal puchti hai." You know, oh God. All my co-stars used to pull my leg. She asks a lot of questions. She's going to eat your head and ask you 10,000 questions. But I knew no better, and that's my way of growing and learning, you know. And I always say, ask questions, because that's the only way you'll get an answer, na?
When you
ये
bring-
वाली सीटी किसने बजाई इस आंसर के बीच में?
I know, I don't know. And I don't think they're going to confess. When you brought that, okay, before we come to the inquisitive mind and the questioning mind, what was that moment when you said, okay, I want to be an actor, not an engineer? Do you remember that moment?
You know, I started modeling,
Yeah.
and that too also, okay, arey,
Essay.
you've got a height, you've got a good height, you're pretty, you should, you know, try
Yeah,
modeling.
yeah.
That's what I was told. I never really thought that I wanted to model as a career, but I was like, okay, you know, I might just gain some confidence. It'll be a personality grooming thing. Let me give it a shot as a hobby. And when I started doing that, I started giving auditions for ads. And I started, you know, when I shot my first ad, I realized that I really enjoyed being in front of the moving camera. I had never experienced that before. I was very nervous in front of a still camera. I was very nervous on the ramp. But when I was in front of a moving camera, whatever little bit of acting was required in TV commercials, it just came to me a little naturally, and I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And it started from there. And I remember Shujit Sirkar directed me in one of the ads. And he said, you know, you have that acting ka thing in you.
Yeah.
You should polish it. And you should do some workshops and like polish it. So that's probably the first time that I felt like, okay, I can act, you know, and this is something I really like doing. So I want to at least give it a shot, and I want to go to Mumbai and I want to try for films.
How did your parents react?
They were like, degree complete karo pehle. So they were like,
No, but
yours.
honestly, were they pleased? I mean, given that your mother is a prof, your father's a chartered accountant, they're professionals, you know, sometimes people like, no, 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 are you sure? Did you have that moment?
I mean, I think my parents could sense my dream as
Yeah.
I was dreaming. And especially my mother has been extremely supportive of ki whatever you want to do in life, na, you should have no regrets. So if you feel like you want to try it, you want to give it a shot, you should give it a shot. And they both have been very, very supportive. So yes, there was this middle class thinking of a stable and secure future that
Yeah.
every, you know, parent has. So there was this thing of you have to complete your degree, and you have to, you know, you've studied so far, and what if after this you'll have a year drop, you know, and then you won't get a job.
Sure.
So I promised them, you have to make a deal in all these cases, you know. So I had to promise them that I would give a GMAT entrance exam.
And did you?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Wow.
Jiska score is valid for 5 years, not valid anymore for sure. But when I moved to Mumbai,
And
while
how
I
did you
was
do?
auditioning,
How did you do in that GMAT?
I think I got like what, 760 or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not so bad. Yeah. So I was like, I will give a GMAT entrance exam, and I will also give auditions. So while I'm also trying for my dreams, I will make sure that you feel okay.
Yeah.
And I'll get a good score. And I remember I shot my Telugu film का first schedule, और first और second schedule के बीच में 2 महीने का gap था. And that's when I gave my exam. So I used to go for these Jambori classes, and I used to give my auditions, and I used to come back. But that was for their safety, you know. The plan B was for their mind to feel okay. While they are supporting me so much, I also have to give back and make them feel comfortable.
But you know, you didn't come from a film family. How tough has it been? I know it's a cliched question, but my question is not about nepotism. How tough has it been to leave that life that you knew as authentic and real and enter this world where, yes, adulation, people loving you is great, but how do you keep it real? I mean, you came from a very, you know, you didn't come from a filmy family, so you didn't know that world. You knew the, a world of regular folks.
Yeah.
How much have you changed?
I don't think the core of me has changed. I just know how to sort of conduct myself, handle myself in certain situations, but I like to keep it real. Like, I feel that's one of the reasons why I have very few friends in the industry. I am someone who has very few friends in general. You know, I
Why
can
is
count
that?
my friends on my fingertips. Really.
So can I. So can I.
Yeah, because I feel like, you can't have that genuine and a real connection with too many people. I'm friendly with a lot of people, but the core people who, just know me in and out, who I can be myself with, who I would go to when I just want to relax and chill or get an advice, who are there in my ups and my downs both. Those are very, very few.
And those have to be people who knew you before you were famous. Like, I always
No,
say...
actually,
No?
not genuinely.
Really?
Yeah, I probably have like 2 college friends who I'm really, really close to. Apart from that, I have like a few friends in the industry, on my team. I think my hair, makeup, costume, those are my, my core people, my strength, my pillars. They've seen me through everything. They've seen me in the vanity van in my worst phases.
What
So,
have been your worst phases?
when you're going through a low in your life, but you're actually shooting a comedy film,
Yeah.
I mean, that can be really tough.
Sure.
So we all have bad days. We all go through stuff. We all go through heartbreaks. We all have promotions can sometimes be really, really
And you have
stressful.
to wear this mask in front of the
yeah,
camera.
and you're in front of the camera. You're in front of the people. You're giving interviews, and I can't show what is going inside. So there is this mask that comes on. And there have been times I remember when I was promoting Bhedia or something where I was, really, really exhausted, like genuinely exhausted. We were going from one city to the other to the other. And I was going for a reality show and I was sitting in the vanity and I just started crying.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this anymore, I'm very tired. So they've seen me through that, they've seen me put on that armor and, still go out and do it and protected my eyes with like makeup.
But does that not scar you to like hold back the there's so much of performance for the external world. How does that change you internally?
You have to surround yourself with real people. I think that is very important. Like I take time to open up. I do trust easily, but my core people have to be absolutely real. You should be able to tell me this is not working, or I didn't like the way you spoke yesterday. I need to know that. So I feel like I surround myself with a bunch of really, really real people, grounded. I am the same Jala person when I'm at home.
Yeah.
My mother looks at me and she's like,
I mean, Jala is such a Delhi word that I just laughed.
Yeah. So I have not let go of the Delhi from me.
So what's
There's
your
a little
Jala?
bit of Mumbai that's come in, where people say ki idhar right marna, left marna and all that. That comes in sometimes, but I have not let go of my core. I feel that's very important.
What is Kriti Sanon's Jala side? What does it look like?
My Jala side is that one.
I cannot imagine her Jala.
Oh, come on. I sit, what is said? You sit like a boy, like I can. When I'm at home, it's just not like, I'm not ladylike at all. That one day after days of working when I get, which is like I call it a rest day, where I don't want to do anything. I just want to be in my pajamas. I don't want to even take a shower. And I just want to like binge and watch something, be with my puppies, stay at home, have chai, just look like absolutely drained and exhausted and be okay with it.
Now tell me, as a young contemporary woman, Do Patti, there was a huge round of applause when I was introducing you and talking about it. Such an important series. When you look at Do Patti and you look at where, where you started and where you are today, what has that arc been like? What has that arc been like? What are movies and roles that you, and we all do this, had to do just to get a foot in the door that you maybe wouldn't do today? Because you're not comfortable with them as women?
Absolutely.
Like,
I
for
had
example?
to. I mean, I've definitely
I don't
not
name
name.
but as a concept.
See, there are times when, especially when you don't come from a film background, or maybe even when you do, when you're doing films, initially you're doing the best of what you have in front of you, you know, on your table.
Yeah.
Then there is this part, this actor in you that's hungry to perform and is looking for a mimi, But there are times when you have in front of you a big film, so-called big project, which has the great people involved in it, but maybe not so great part, and it's like this film could work. And there are actually so many people who've done smaller roles in bigger films and had like longer careers. And those films, the box office numbers, you know, come into play at that
Yeah.
point. And you have a lot of chatter around you, you have people advising you that, listen, you can't just do a Mimi. You know, you have to balance it out. There are different kinds of audiences, which I agree
Sure.
with, who like watching different kinds of films. So you should be able to mold yourself into, you know, various kind of films. And you feel like, okay, fine, you know, okay, I'm doing this, I should also probably do this. Doesn't have the greatest role, doesn't excite me as an actor, but yeah, it could work at the box office, and you know, more people would see it.
Yeah.
And you take those decisions. I think over time, those mistakes are also important. Because ek to I realize when I don't have my heart in it, and when I don't have that exciting a part, and I do it for the reason of being a project, it never works.
Yeah.
The film only doesn't work. Like I think somewhere it's a sign by God.
Yeah.
Those films don't work. They don't work themselves. They don't work for me. So then I'm like, you know, if I'm floating on the set and I didn't really enjoy the process, if I enjoy the process and the film doesn't work, I still take back memories.
Yeah,
You know, I still grow, I still learn something. But if I've not enjoyed the process, I've not grown, I've sleepwalked through the, you know, role of it, and the film doesn't work, then it's a waste of time. So I think it's been a learning.
You've got to at least believe in it.
Yeah, it's been a learning over time that, you know, what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what excites me, what doesn't excite me, and also what people like seeing me in.
Yeah.
You know, you have to keep a
But
balance
that
of it.
changes, right? Sometimes you surprise your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to keep changing the gear, you know, you have to keep shifting it. I don't want to be put in a box and,
Sure.
and be like, oh, it's her film, so it must be this kind. No. I want to do all different kinds of films. I want to do a comedy, I want to do a thriller, I want to do a, you know, love story, I want to do a Mimi. So I want that mixed bag.
Yeah. Why was Do Patti so important to you? I mean, it's a very important series, but for you personally.
So Do Patti, I think, started only with the idea of the cause that it tries to put light on, which is domestic violence.
Correct.
It is a subject that I feel very strongly for amongst many other subjects. It's something that I think बचपन से मुझे मेरे घर में एक maid होती थी जो almost हर दूसरे दिन आती थी and उसका एक नया bruise होता था. And the husband was an alcoholic, he used to beat her up. She was the bread earner,
Yeah.
but she never left him, and I couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
And I just felt so terrible that I couldn't help. And it just is something that I deeply feel for, and I feel like the subject has not been spoken about that much. So we wanted to talk about it from a different perspective. The fact that sometimes women actually stay in the relationship for the kids, but they don't realize what that does to the kids.
Yeah.
You know, the generational damage or trauma that it can cause. And I met Kanika, the writer and my co-producer, and I was like, you know what, I actually want to produce films as well. I want to support stories that I feel like telling, and I want to be more involved in them. So she was like, is there a subject that you feel for? And I said, I really feel for domestic violence. I don't think it's been put out there, you know, that properly, and I feel films can actually be a great medium to start conversations.
And I think we all know so many women who have been there and don't leave. And there are many reasons to not leave in their heads.
Yeah.
But they're just literally self-brutalizing.
There are many reasons. Sometimes they feel like it's okay because they've
Because
seen it.
conditioning, it's normalized.
Conditioning, it's normalized. Some of them are not financially independent, so
Correct.
they feel like, you know, where are they going to go? Sometimes the parents and, you know, our relatives are like, Are, you know, it's okay. Itna to chalta hai.
Yeah.
You know, that is normalized. And sometimes you start feeling like you're at fault. You know, maybe I am doing something wrong that he's behaving like this with me.
Yeah.
So I think just those things need to be spoken about a lot more. And the fact that if you're doing it for the kids, the kid that grows up seeing their parents or their mother being beaten up and disrespected by the father, either might disrespect another woman later, or might feel like it's okay to be disrespected. So I think that was the main mudda and the main reason why I wanted to also produce this film, because
Yes.
I personally wanted to be very, very involved.
I
And
think
I
we should
just
applaud. It's such an important conversation.
and I cannot tell you, Barkha, there are so many women
Yeah.
who have sobbed. There was someone
Yeah.
who I knew personally who just hugged me and said, you know, and she's gotten out of a toxic relationship, but she said, you know, if I would have seen this film before, I would have probably stepped out earlier. And there were so many people whose mothers have gone through stuff, who themselves have gone through things. I got so many messages that I just suddenly felt like, okay, maybe the number that I was thinking is way more than what
Oh, yeah.
was in my head.
You know, government data tells us that 95% of women who've been abused know the person who's abused them. So if it's not domestic violence, it's somebody in the family, it's somebody you know, it's your neighbor, your uncle, and we don't like talking about this because it makes us so uncomfortable. So thank you for Do Patti, right? Thank you. I want to ask you towards the end, how tough has it been to be a woman in the industry? Are things changing? Are they changing slowly? Has a lot changed? I know you weren't here before, so you're speaking as a kind of outsider, self-made woman in this industry, but even so.
I think a lot is changing. The change is slow,
Yeah.
but it's still in the right direction.
What is slow? Pay parity, not enough
पे
interesting
पैरिटी तो
roles?
इज़ वेरी स्लो पे पैरिटी तो मुझे लग रहा है दूसरी तरफ से कम होना शुरू हो जाएगी हमारी बढ़े ना बढ़े बट आई फील पे पैरिटी इज़ वेरी स्लो बट इन जनरल आई फील लाइक आई ऑल्सो फील women need to value themselves and take a stand and be okay saying no,
Yeah.
you know.
Have you said no?
In-
Have you started saying no?
Yeah, of course. I have started saying no. And I think there was a point, you know, we always work from a sense of, from a place of insecurity and fear, you know, and that insecurity and fear of losing on to work, of not getting the best projects, of someone else getting the project that you want to do, makes you say yes and compromise and be like, हाँ, ठीक है, okay, fine. But I think if you don't value yourself, nobody else will. So you have to take a stand. And in terms of also the kind of roles that you want to do and not want to do, you know, you have to be okay with losing a project if that's not something that you feel is in sync with you, you know, and that is something that I've learned.
Now, you're a superstar, you've been a producer. What next? Are you going to be an engineer? No, that was a trick question. What next?
What next? I don't know. Yeah, I don't plan so well. I'm terrible at planning. I think I'm enjoying this phase. I would love to add some more butterflies in my Blue Butterfly films.
Yes.
So finding scripts that really touch my heart, that I feel are stories that need to be told, you know, that is my next step. Hopefully reaching a point where I can also produce films where I'm not acting in. You know, and when there's someone else and just my creative involvement in it. That's it. Just following my passion, trying to evolve, do better, trying to surprise the audiences.
Well, my producer just reminded me that you spoke about your love for dancing, and we can't let you go without that. So what's the track request, guys? What? Okay, then.
It's a unanimous decision.
Is it unanimous? Okay, then, go for it. One girl, come on. Okay, one more. That's it, that's it. Yes, guys, here. One minute, with it. That's it.
रोमियो रोमियो कल के रोमियो भोली शक्ल वाले सारे के सारे परे पियो ए रोमियो रोमियो भड़के प्रेमियो काहे गल पड़े हो बिन बुलाए बारातियों ले तो गई कलेजा संग में हम भी ले जा ये तो चोरी से है सीना जोरी कभी लगे मोनालिसा कभी कभी लगे लोलिटा
stampede. Wait, I'm going to take your phone to take a selfie with us. Come on. Come on, everybody.
संतरे की टोकरी घर तो छुड़वाया अब क्या छुड़ाएगी नौकरी
रोमियो रोमियो कल के रोमियो भोले शक्ल वाले सारे के सारे परे पियो रोमियो रोमियो भाड़ के प्रेमियो काहे गले पड़े हो बिन बुलाए बारातियों
तो गई गले जा संग में हमें भी ले जा ये तो चोरी पे है सीना सोरी कभी लगे मोनालिसा कभी कभी लगे नोबिता और कभी जैसे कादम्बरी हाय मेरी परम 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 परम
Okay, it is time now. She was a great sport. She took a lot of pictures. She danced with you all. But it is now time to honor her with our Women of the Year award for the important conversations she has raised as a rank outsider, an engineer girl from my city, Delhi, making it so big in the film industry. And can we please have our partners at Franklin Templeton, Swati? Where is Swati? I don't see Swati. Oh, there you are, Swati. Okay. Come. Hi. Okay. Good. Let's have show us the love, guys. Thank you. We'll try and find that photo and send that to whose phone it is on. Bye.